Steve Hawks.
I'm Kendall Trotter.
Welcome to this edition of the Las Vegas Real Estate Update. Today's edition, we're going to be talking about what happens to a property after it's been foreclosed on. And more specifically, what happens to the occupants, the tenants, or the owners in the house once it's been foreclosed on. And today we have with us one of the top REO agents in Las Vegas, Jason Van Zant.
Jason, thanks for stopping in.
Thanks for having me.
A REO agent is basically REO, real estate owned, means he deals in bank foreclosures. The banks hire him to sell their homes for them. Jason, what happens to the occupants of the house after the trustee's sale? You get the call that the bank is selling the house.
Right. We get a new foreclosed property. We go out to the property to see if it is occupied or vacant. Once we know the property is occupied, then we have to work on what we call cash for keys, which is our first choice. We have two options of either evicting these people or doing a cash for keys. Cash for keys works better for both parties.
So are you telling me that a bank is foreclosed on the property, now they own it, and the owners, the former owners, have lost it through foreclosure?
Right.
You get the call, Jason, we want to list this property, go out and take care of this. And you probably don't know what you're running into when you get out there. You don't know if there's, I've heard stories of people leaving pets behind, you know, I mean, very sad thing. Foreclosure is never a good thing, people.
I've heard some of the stories, some of the things they leave behind. Unbelievable.
So maybe that's a different update. But for now, we want to talk about what happens to the people that are living in the home. So tell us about cash for keys. Jason, we're a bank. We want you to sell the house. Go out there and take care of it. What happens?
Right. So, like I said, you got two options, eviction or cash for keys. The new owners are going to get you out one way or the other, whether they have to evict you or they have to, do a cash for keys where you voluntarily leave. When you voluntarily leave, they'll actually compensate you for that.
Really?
You sign an agreement where you, usually 30 days or less, maximum. They're not going to go 30 days in most cases, and anywhere from $500 to $1,500 is on average what we're offering right now to get the people to leave on their own terms. They have to vacate the premises, remove all their personal belongings,
And not damage it, of course.
Not damage it, leave the fixtures,
Appliances.
well, appliances are an iffy thing, I mean, fridge, washer, dryer, sometimes are considered their personal property, so.
So basically what you're saying, though, is the bank comes in, and everybody thinks of banks being the big bad wolf, right? Knocking at the door, ready to blow the house down. But the bank is actually calling you saying, Jason, we understand there's occupants in there. However, for whatever reason, we've had to foreclose. We've got to protect our investment. And you can make this offer to the occupants. Mm-hmm. And you're prepared to say, hey, if you leave this house in decent condition, and a lot of anybody that's ever looked at a lot of bank foreclosures have known that a lot of them are in bad conditions, and that's another topic. However, the banks are actually coming in and say, even after the foreclosure process, and the people basically been living there for probably a while without making their payments, you're saying that they'll give them another 30 days and maybe $1,000 to leave on good terms and not destroy the property.
And just remove their personal belongings. We tell them to leave it in what we call broom clean condition.
Broom clean. That means just, sweep the floor, people.
Right.
That's all you got to do. Now, what if they decline? Nope, you're not getting me out of here.
They're going to get evicted. It's going to happen sooner or later, and that's up to, the legal process to determine how long that takes. So
Could be way nastier, do you think?
it could be shorter, it could be longer. So it's,
It varies from what, 3 to 30 days?
Um,
And you don't know when.
Right. You don't know when. There's a lot of variance. We won't go into legal aspects. We're not attorneys here, But
Well, I think the moral of the story is, and the point here is that the big bad wolf that knocked on the door after the people couldn't make their payments is still willing to work with the people,
Right.
correct? And I'm actually impressed by that they'll say, look, you know what? Here's $1,000, $1,500, get you on your way, help you out. That'll at least pay for a moving company to get your stuff out. Just please respect the property, which anybody should do anyway. I mean,
Right.
So if a person's in that situation, the most logical thing for them to do is take the $1,500, take the $1,000 from the bank, move out in a timely fashion, and you can use that for your
Deposit on a rent or
Right.
something. Yeah.
I mean, the other option is if you damage the home, what's that gonna do? It's not gonna do you any good.
Nobody wins in that situation.
And you're out $1,000,
Yeah.
$1,500.
Right, and if they can prove that you vandalized, I mean, you've got other aspects.
You got other
there.
problems.
And,
Right.
you know, you can get eviction on your record and, you know, vandalism charges. So it works better for both parties. Just take the money, agree to it. You're going to have to leave sooner or later, one way or the other, either voluntarily or forcefully. Why would you have it the other way, you know?
And how much harder is it, like you said earlier,
And
to...
on the bank side of it, people say, well, why would they offer me money? It's a question everyone asks.
I would say that's a good faith offer.
Right.
Saying, you know what, we're sorry we took your home. We had to do it. However, we're still. I mean,
Well, it's just an economic decision. The reason why they're offering them $1,000 to $1,500 because it's a lot less to evict a person, and it's less time that we have to. It's actually quicker to put it back on the market,
Right.
which is less time they have on their books, which is less money out of their
Right.
pocket.
Well, when they're going through the eviction, you've got legal fees, attorneys. Not to mention, you know, most of the time people leave under eviction. It's more hostile, you know.
so I think we can agree here. If the foreclosed person or party would take the cash for keys, it is a way more win-win situation for the foreclosed owner or tenant or whoever it may be
So
occupying the
if
house,
one of these
the bank,
occupants
and
is a
everybody.
renter, is there any difference for the renters out there that are watching? Or is this the same?
No, it's the same process. Whether you were the former mortgager, if you're the renter, or you're just living in that home, you occupy the residence that was foreclosed on that the new owner now, lending institution, wants to sell. They can't sell it with you in it, or they don't want to, so their option is to have the property vacant, and they have two options. Either they evict you or you leave voluntarily. And if you leave voluntarily, they'll give you an agreement and actually pay you to do that.
When we get this law, you can explain this to our viewers. What about when they claim we made a security deposit? What about a security deposit, Jason?
Any security deposits, anything, any agreements that you had with a previous landlord or owner is void. That contract or whatever you had. So the security deposits, you actually have to go back to the previous landlord for.
Good luck, people. He wasn't making his house payment. He's not going to give you your security
Right.
deposit back.
That's a
So-
fair assumption.
Yeah.
But the
You
thing
know what?
is-
Take the money from Jason, and that'll be your new security deposit.
Right.
And you get 30 days, so it's 30 days free rent basically.
Right. And the thing, the other important topic is that whoever you were making that payment to, your rent payment, if you were a renter, they're not paying the mortgage. You don't owe them any more money. So if they call you at the first of the month and ask you for that rent, you don't owe it to them. They don't own the property anymore.
Exactly. Well, hopefully people would know that because they're like, dude, we have to move because we're out of here
Right.
because Jason came
But
and
we
gave us
hear a lot of-
$1,500 and
We have a lot of instances where they'll call and they'll say, hey, you know, the landlord called and said I owe rent because we got notice and we talked to him at the
All
end
right,
of the
people,
month.
we have to do another one of these things about landlords that let their houses get foreclosed on, throw the people out in the street, and still try to collect rent. Now, that's going to be a good one.
And it happens.
Yeah.
There's a lot
You know
of
what?
interesting things
I have
that
no doubt that it happens, and I'm sure it happens every day. I think we're about out of time. Jason, we would like to say thank you for coming in. I know that this foreclosure topic is very big right now, and a lot of people are thinking the banks are the big bad wolf.
Right.
However, it is enlightening to hear somebody like you who deals with a lot of bank properties to say, you know what, we understand that these are people, these are families, and this is an unfortunate situation, and we're not placing blame, but here's what we have to do to solve the problem. And cash for keys sounds like a pretty good idea,
Right.
and it sounds like a fair offer. So
One additional quick note, many people ask, okay, the home's foreclosing, or I know it's going to foreclose. How do I contact them? They contact you. They're going to post a notice. The realtor assigned to that property will post a notice, or the attorney will, and you're going to have a number to call them back at. Or
Good.
they'll knock on the door and you'll meet them face to face.
it doesn't have to get ugly, people. I mean, I think that's the moral of the story. Right. I think we're about out of time. I'm Kendall Trotter with Jason Van Zant.
And I'm Steve Hawks.
Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Las Vegas Real Estate Update.